Continue the sequence below, giving the next 8 terms. I to the power 1 is I, as we'd expect. I squared equals -1, which is the very definition of I. I cubed then would be -1 times I, so negative I. I to the 4 would be 1, because negative I times I times I is -1, and take the negative of that, it's 1. Which means when we get to I5, we're back to the beginning again. So if we want the next 8 terms, I to the 6 is going to be -1. I to the 7 is going to be -I. I to the 8 is going to be 1. And then I to the 9, that's going to be I again. I to the power 10 would be -1. I to the power 11 would be -I. I to the power 12 is going to be 1. And I to the 13 is going to be I. Now, we could look at what these are with respect to a remainder when we divide the power by 4. So if we get a remainder of 1 when we divide the power by 4, as we do with 1 and 5 and so on, then the term would be I. If we get a remainder of 2, as we would with the power being 6 or 10, then it's going to be -1. For a remainder of 3, we'd get -I. And if there is a 0 remainder, in other words, it's a multiple of 4, then we know the term is going to be 1. So for I to the 40, we know straight away that's going to be 1. When we think about I to the 83, if we divide 83, if we divide that by 4, then we get 20 with a remainder of 3. Or another way of thinking of it is that 83 is 3 more than a multiple of 4. And therefore, this one must be -I.